All right. Welcome to Powered by Authenticity live tonight with the one, the only, Jacob Brown. Jacob, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so good to get back on here and to have another good conversation, especially tonight's conversation about our books.
I know. I'm so looking forward to this. Thank you again for coming back and talking about the book. I'll share a little story that I texted my daughter today and I said, I read a whole book. And she said, no. I said, yes, because I am known for buying books but not finishing them.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, would you like to just remind everybody about who you are and where you're from and all that good stuff?
Yeah. Real quick. So my name is Jacob Brown. For those who don't know me, I am known as the hashtag fail forward guy. I am a transformational speaker, author, and coach. I just authored my first book in December called Fail Forward Mentality. I'm a former NFL athlete. I was a creative director for 16 years before I stepped full time into entrepreneurship. And now I travel the world and speaking on a concept called failing forward and embracing fear and helping individuals get past that imposter syndrome that all of us have.
Yeah, amazing. And you did such a great job. Well, um, eh, like I said, we're here for author swap. So we were chatting a few weeks ago and we happened to catch up and we were talking about each other's books. So we did a little swap in the mail. And, I just kind of wanted to talk about the experience with you. And first of all, I don't know if everybody can see here, but I've got a stack of sticky notes. I also have a lot of highlights in the book because it was just so full of really meaningful information. So, how did you come up with putting thoughts to paper? It's such it's a different leap. It's this, great message. But how did you really come up with that concept for the book?
Yeah. So I mean, I've been posting and sharing motivational content for just about a decade, and LinkedIn is primarily my primary platform. And I've had people ask, when are you going to write a book? When are you going to write a book? I had zero aspirations to write a book at all. I've got a lot of friends. If you can see back there on my
Yeah.
bookshelf, I've probably got about 12 to 14 of my friends' books. And they're coaches, they're speakers, they're authors. And I never ever thought that I would actually put pen to paper and write a book. Well, probably about 2.5, almost 3 years ago, I finally bit the bullet and I just opened up a Word document and started typing.
Yeah.
And I teach people all the time, if there's something you want to do, you have to start. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be messy, it could be ugly. Just start. So I just started the process about 3 years ago. And I probably wrote 70% of my book in the first year. And then for a year and a half, I kind of just sat on it. And I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with that. Um, a lot of us have ideas and they start, but
Yep.
you don't quite know how to finish them. I have a pet peeve whenever I watch a movie that starts off really good and then it ends, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just wasted an hour and a half, 2 hours of my life because that's a dumb ending, and I did not want that for my book.
Yeah.
So when I was writing the book, I wanted to make sure that it carried the flow and the theme of my true authenticity all the way through, and it left people understanding a bit more about me. So that was kind of my flow and my process when writing the book. But I don't know. What do you think? How was it for you?
It was the same thing. So my husband kept telling me I should write a book, not only for the experiences I've had on the road, but just as being a female leader in tech,
Yeah.
the things that I've gone through. And I say this often that I'm very fortunate that I've had a lot of meetings on speakerphone because
Yep.
that way he can hear how I'm spoken to. And he's like, that's not right. And I'm like, I agree. So when the opportunity came about, I wasn't sure what I wanted to tell. I wanted people to know that no matter the demographic or where you come from, you can push through that. But it was
Yeah.
that blank Word document was overwhelming. But I will say this: I'm a deadline driven gal.
Oh my gosh.
And the publisher finally said, it's time.
Yep.
You got to get us your words.
I love that.
So, yeah, yeah. So it was
I
time
never
to,
truly I gave myself a couple deadlines and
yeah,
I never hit them until I had to. And at the end of the last year, I said, I've got to get this manuscript to my printer before Christmas. And I finally
yeah,
did it. But
yeah, yeah. The one thing so what I loved about the book, and then I didn't, until I started reading it and getting into it, I loved how you addressed your fail forward mentality in every aspect of a person's life. So it
yes.
wasn't just, it's not just from a career perspective, but parenting and health and wellness, because, I say all the time, when you're happy mentally,
Hmm.
being best in your health and your nutrition and all of these things, that you can come and show up better at your job. So
Yes.
um, I loved how you approached it out of every aspect of a person's life.
Thank you. I appreciate that. When I was writing the book and I shared kind of my story in the beginning of the book, for those that haven't read the book, I shared a very vulnerable personal story in the beginning of the book, that gives people a glimpse of where my fail forward story began and
Mm,
how I began to grow this fail forward mentality. This is not something that just happened overnight. This was something that was over a decade or more of growth of a mindset. And one thing, Emily, that I realize is that my fail forward mentality is not just on the football field. It's not just in my career, but
yeah,
it's everywhere. And one of the quotes that's not even in this book, and I had some of my 100 favorite quotes in the back half of the book. One of my favorite quotes that I love is, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I fully believe that however
yeah,
you do something is how you're going to do everything. And when you have a certain mindset and mentality towards health or wellness or fitness or charity, that is who you are through and through. And that's more than likely how you're going to attack every single aspect of your life. And what
yeah,
I was trying to do in the book was make sure that people understood that they should have and can have a fail forward mentality in any area of their life.
yeah. Yeah, I loved it. There's if people don't take the time to stop and think about how to put something like that to every aspect. We're so busy moving. We're so
Yes.
busy. We get caught up on our own noise, and I love
Yeah.
how you also say take a step back, because even like that failure, is there something there that you actually succeeded in? You went
Yes.
forward with something in a failure. So I was very appreciative. I loved the part about parenting. It's such a overwhelming thing. So, it just, I, it was great. It was amazing to see how to, and concepts about how to put it to use every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you. I appreciate that. And you
Yeah.
have some quotes in your book that you used that I absolutely love. You know,
Yeah.
um, I absolutely love it. And I bookmarked this because
Yep.
at the end of it, a lot of what the story that you told in your book, that you opened up with, is the story of that teacher that told you
Yeah.
that, females from New York City do not become CEOs.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm a firm believer of speak what you seek until you see what you've said. And the words that we use, not just to other people, but to ourselves, matter.
Yep.
And you could have taken that story and you could have made that your story, but you
Mhm.
decided to change the story that you tell. Tony Robbins talks about, the stories that we tell in our limited beliefs. And what you shared in the book, I absolutely love how you took that story and flipped it on its head, and
Yep.
look at you now. So can you talk a little bit about that and how you arrived to, like, the steps to make sure that other people or other women know how to get there?
Yeah. So, being told that girls just don't do that, especially by another female. You know, a teacher, somebody who should be railing on your behalf, and instead puts you spiraling in a different direction. I didn't take the time to, I don't think even really process it until I was well into life. And then it became this platform and this also, and it's not in the book, but I'll share, I was also voted quietest in my high school class. So when I graduated high school, quietest, and oh, by the way, you will never become a CEO because you're a woman. That's a great way to leave high school. That's just setting you up for success. But I think that needs to fuel you. And so I wanted the actions that I've had to take. One of the biggest things that I've had to learn how to do is ask for help. And that's in that chapter, because I want everyone, and I'm starting to share this, please see asking for help as a strength and not a weakness.
Yes.
The women, we tend to bury that down. We tend to, not want to show a weakness, especially in a workplace perspective. But we've got to use our voices, and voices to stand up for ourselves, voices to ask for help. It's okay. You're not an imposter. It's not imposter syndrome. You're actually that damn good. Like, just go do it. And so that's the steps in my book where I'm trying to help guide people that, you can do it. If somebody tells you no, use that as your fuel, put it as your fire, and then just go do the things that they tell you can't, and show them. Yeah.
Show them. I absolutely love that. And you mentioned in your book a quote from John Quincy Adams. I love this quote, and I've never seen this quote, but it definitely reminds me of other quotes I've read. And if you don't mind, I want to read this quote. It says, before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. The reason why I love that, is because you know me. I've never been, or I speak about how your title does not dictate who you are, right? And I firmly believe that a lot of people don't believe that they are leaders unless they have a leadership title. But I believe, like John Quincy Adams says, listen, if you are already inspiring people to do more, to learn more, to become more, you are a leader, right? And the more that you do that, the more you will be seen and to be promoted to that place where you can lead more.
Yeah. It's so funny that it's just so, I think, a not knowing thought that you can be any rank
Yes.
and you can be a leader. Actually, some people show better leadership qualities than those that we put in charge, because they have a
100%.
passion, they have a fire. So I love that quote. It defines, go out and be the person that you want before the title doesn't matter. It just doesn't.
Yes. Yes.
Good human is the one title that
Good human.
Good human.
Good human is the title. So,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about the process of writing this book. Obviously, it's a combination of
Yep.
stories. How did that come about? And have you had the opportunity to collaborate with anyone else?
Yeah, great question. So this book came about through a mutual connection in my network. As part of losing my job, I found myself with a little bit of time, and I spun up the podcast, and I thought, well, if I'm going to try this book thing and using my voice, then the opportunities happen through networking came about. The people who I've gotten to know through this process, I wouldn't have gotten to know otherwise. And the fact that we could all come together, put our voices together, and amplify something for women in STEM, I think was just a unique opportunity that I just couldn't let go. I am working on another one with some of the same ladies, but also additional, where we're adding in STEAM. So we're going to add in the arts. I'm going to talk about the podcast and how that goes. But we've been able to collaborate not just on the book, but in many different ways as panelists and sharing our story as panelists and, really coming together as a community. And I think that's so important. People who are complete strangers, you get together, you have common, themes and, common missions, and just using your voice really just,
Yes.
it just helps. And so,
Yeah.
great group of people. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely
Yeah,
love it. I have thought about co-writing a book with
yeah,
someone. I've actually been approached to co-write a book, and that might be down the line. But
yeah,
as you mentioned, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to partnership and collaborate with someone because I mean, two minds are always better than one.
yep. Yeah, and everybody's got a little bit different of a viewpoint of how
Yeah,
they handle situations, and I think for readers, it allows them to say, "I'm resonating with how this person does this, but oh, this person really got me over here." Like, and you can see there's
yeah,
different ways to handle different problems that you come up with.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, so your process to get the book to market. So it's not for light and faint of heart.
No, no.
What's the one thing that you've learned during this whole book process?
During the whole book process, it's funny because as soon as I hit approve to be printed at my printer here in Michigan,
Yeah,
I mean, as soon as I hit that button, I was already thinking about my second book and all of the things I will do differently, right?
yeah,
I mean, just from the book size to the font size to the cover to, I mean, everything. I was thinking about all the different things that I just didn't know while writing my first book. I'm looking at some of the other authors that I have on my shelf and the way they
yeah.
structure their book, how many chapters they had, all of those things. So there's so many things I'm going to be doing differently in my second book. My second book is going to be based off of a um a workshop that I put together. It's called Core
Okay,
Leadership. And core leadership is how you tie avocados and the makeup of an avocado to what the makeup of a good leader is. And the book is going to be called Avocado Leadership.
oh,
And I'm very excited about it. It is going to be strictly to, I mean, my book is more of a self-help
yeah,
style book.
yeah,
The book that I'm writing for Avocado Leadership is going to be a business leadership book specific to leaders than people that have people in their stead that they are leading. So I'm very excited about that. And as I mentioned, there's so many things I'm going to be doing differently and different people I'm going to be pulling into the book as
awesome.
well, so that I'm not out on an island and
Yeah.
trying to bring this book to market by myself.
Okay. Well, all things avocado.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love that though. It's catchy. That's amazing. I was going
Thank
to ask
you.
you if you have a second one in the works because I could see it doing very well.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be pulling in all different types of leaders. So just know that your email is going to be one of them that will be added to that.
Oh, thanks. I would love that. That would be a humbling experience. Actually, I love
Yeah.
that idea. So thank you. Yeah, it's just the whole creative process, and I definitely learned a lot about like the publishing aspect and getting it
Oh,
out
yeah.
on Amazon and like championing for yourself. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. Being a speaker, so I speak quite a bit. I'm usually speaking to audiences of 2 to 500 people. They're always asking for the book. So
Yeah,
I usually bring books to events or pre-sell books for events and do book signings. That was
yeah,
my primary objective when I wrote the book, is to have something to give away to audience members. But it's obviously a book that people also buy on Amazon and one to one from me as well.
yeah. Yeah, that's great. I'll share a little story. When I went to mail you your book, the lady at the post office was, first they helped me find in our post office is small, so I was like, where do you keep the envelopes? And so I put it in there, and she's like, she had seen the book, and she goes, any liquids? And I was like, no, just blood, sweat, and tears. And she's like, oh, it's your book. It was just kind of
I
one of
love
those
that.
fun moments. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. I am like so happy to be able to chat with you. But we do actually have a question that just came in to the chat from a
All
live
right.
participant, and it says, "Do either of you have any advice for me about writing a book myself?" Want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I would say, Trisha, it's find something that you're passionate about, and then just sit down and try to write. Just come up with some ideas. For me, it was thinking about the message that I wanted to put through, which is, doesn't matter your demographic, where you're from, or what your background is, you can still be successful. And then some tangible ways to make that happen. So I think that's how kind of what I thought about writing a book. You could certainly Google some workshops, and I know there's lots of publishing companies that will also help you through workshops get frameworks in order and things like that. So Jacob, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. That's just kind of my thoughts.
I do, and I share this with quite a few people. As I was writing my book, I was comparing what my book might be upon completion to what other people's books are upon completion. And I realized that I was never going to measure up to whoever's book. It's not going to be the same page count. It's not going to have the same amount of, I guess, meat in it.
Yeah.
It's just going to be my book. So, one thing that I would say is do not compare yourself to anyone else's book. There is a book that is a New York Times bestseller, and I'm going to grab it off my bookshelf really quick.
Yeah. It's amazing. You get the live review, Trisha.
This book, and Trisha, if you can go on Amazon and buy this book. This book is called Coffee Bean. It's by Damon West and John Gordon. John Gordon's a famous keynote speaker and coach, and Damon West is a former college athlete. He was an amazing athlete and ended up spending some time in jail, quite a bit of time. And he wrote this book because it's called Coffee Bean because when he went to jail, he had two different options. Jail is like boiling water, and you could either be an egg or a coffee bean. And when you're an egg, you turn hard when you're in boiling hot water. But if you're a coffee bean, you spread and you change the environment. And one thing that Damon West mentioned in his book is that he wanted to change the environment of that prison that he was in, not just for himself, but for every other person in there. And when you open this book and read this book, you're going to see just how simple this book is. It's not anything crazy. You could literally read this book in 30 minutes, but it is such an impactful book for leaders, for individuals going through adversity, for anyone that just wants a quick book, whether they're on a flight. And when I saw this book, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, this book maybe has 80 pages in it. And I was trying to hit a certain number when I was writing my book just because I saw everyone else doing it. And then I saw this simple book that was gifted to me, and I couldn't have been happier to just release the pressure off of my shoulders for my next book. So if
Amazing.
I was
Is
going to give
the
you any advice, just start writing your book. Don't worry about anyone else's. Just make it yours, and that'll be more than good enough.
That's amazing advice. And Coffee Bean. We'll link it in the show notes when we push this to Spotify and things like that.
Perfect.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I love that. Coffee Bean.
Yeah, coffee bean.
That is amazing. Well, I bookmarked a couple of your quotes that I just wanted to make sure that I shared. One that resonated very closely with me, Jacob, is the best part of being authentic is there's no image to maintain.
It's true.
I love that. Um, be you, they'll adjust.
They'll adjust.
And I think that's such an important message. I love that. The last one that I'll share is the wait until you see why God made you. Um, I love that. And the other thing that I love in this book and about yourself is that you're not afraid to share your journey with faith. And I think that's a very important piece to share as well.
I appreciate that. And I truly believe that when we are our true authentic selves, it's something that we don't have to work at.
Mhm.
Obviously, you have to work better at your communication skills and soft skills and all those things. But when you are just yourself, you don't have an image to maintain. You just are who you are. And you don't have to worry about everyone liking you or everyone vibing with your energy. Your tribe will find you and you will find your tribe. And I think that's a great thing about what you do, Emily, powered by authenticity. I love that because you are who you are. Everyone on the planet knows how much you love the Buffalo Bills, period. Right? You are not
It's true.
shy about that.
That's true.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
let me share something from your book that I really, really liked. I loved when you were given the tips of how to do this and and why. Your fifth tip, you said network, network, network. The doors and conversations that can start with a simple hello are paramount. A lot of people walk around the streets and they just don't greet one another. Something as simple as a hello, whether it's on the street, whether it's on LinkedIn, just a simple hello. Introduce yourself. You never know. My mom used to always say, you never know when you might need someone, but more importantly, you never know when they might need you. And unless you're able to network, unless you're able to extend yourself and to allow people into your fold, you never have the ability to help them. And I think the best leaders are servant leaders. And that's what you're explaining here. Go to work in your community, find organizations that are looking for help and grow their reach. Through these organizations, you can not only grow yourself, but it is an opportunity to find those that have like-minded goals and achievements. I love that. If you know anything about me, I am a networker. I'm on LinkedIn every day, all day, and I'm always looking for people to serve, to help, and to connect. So, and that's how you and I connected.
yes, it is. Actually, the title of my podcast is because of you.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I did
So,
not know that.
International Women's Day, March 8th, 2022, you held a mastermind class. It was a personal branding masterclass. I had my daughter home with me because it was International Women's Day and we were doing some Microsoft events and just different events that I was involved in, and I wanted her to be part of it. And she came to the class with me. And you went through that exercise of you started with a lot of words. Pick the words that resonate with you. And we kept whittling it down. And when we got to the end, it was mine were empowerment and
Yes.
authenticity. And so I played with the wording and I was like, well, what fuels me is just me. Like I have to be myself or else I'm no good. Like I can't pretend I am who I am. And
Absolutely.
it's powered by authenticity. And now I'm taking the tagline a little bit further. One of my keynote speeches that I've spun up called my effed up life, which is
Yes.
not a bad thing. It's faith, it's family, it's food, it's football, it's fun, it's all of these things. And
I love
I
that.
realized I'm fueled by that too. So we're working through, not only am I powered by authenticity, but I'm actually fueled by the actions that help us get to our most authentic self. So
I love that. I
yeah.
love my effed up life as well. That is so awesome.
Yeah, so it was out of that class that we came
Yeah.
up with powered by authenticity.
That is so great. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't share that before. Oh my goodness. Well, cool. Well, I know it's getting late in the day. I could talk all day with you because I think you're one of the coolest humans that's out there.
Thank you.
And I love your book. So again, fail forward mentality. Trust me, you're going to have lots of tags. Keep your highlighter handy. Jacob, I really do appreciate this type of book where it's, helping us understand that, the fail forward concept is part of every aspect of our lives and what we do. And, you're such a positive light. So I really appreciate the book. I can't wait for the avocado book as well.
Yes, yes,
So thank
yes.
you for sharing it with me. Thank you for being here to share it with everybody out on all of our social platforms and when we push it to podcasts. So just thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And let me just say, I've always loved your stance on women in leadership, and especially from where it came from the thing that your teacher told you one day, and how you never let that stop you or prevent you from doing what you do now. I've got a baby girl that's 5. She's almost 6. I've got 3 big boys and a baby girl, and I always want my baby girl to have the mindset of that you have, right? That you can do anything and be anywhere, and you deserve to be in those rooms, because you do deserve to be in those rooms, because more than likely you're probably smarter than more than half of all the men that are probably in there anyway. So and I remember you gave me stats on that in terms of women CEOs. So absolutely
And
love that.
oh, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I do. I really appreciate your time and you coming out and being part of our first author swap. It's
Yes,
so
this was
fun.
awesome.
I love it. So we'll put links to your book and people can find you where, Jacob? You want to share your links?
Yeah, yeah. People can find me on my website, failforwardbrown.com. That is failforwardbrown.com. You can actually find my book on my website. If you go to new book, you can get a signed copy from my website. If you go to Amazon, those won't be signed, but you can purchase them on Amazon as well. Or you can go to failforwardbrown.com/books, and you can get a book from there as well. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty easy to find on LinkedIn, just my name, Jacob Brown, pretty basic. And on on Instagram, it's official Jake Brown. On TikTok, it's official Jake Brown, and you can also find me on YouTube as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. And our book's actually on poweredbyauthenticity.com. You can find it there. We'll send you, just like Jacob said, that there are signed copies that are available. You can find on Amazon.com as well.
Love it.
I just love it. Thank you for being here. And I have to say, producer Ken, you definitely earned your takeout dinner tonight. We had a little little technical trouble, so we appreciate it.
Couple hiccups. We're good.
We're good.
Thank you, Ken.
Ken gets paid in takeout every week.
Hey, I love
I
food, so
enjoy
I
it
wouldn't
every
even
week.
argue that.
Jacob, thank you for being here. Thanks to everyone. We've got a lot of great comments that have come in. So people have definitely enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. For everybody listening, thank you for your continued support. We appreciate it here at Powered by Authenticity. And we hope you have a great rest of your week. And Jacob, thank you once again.
Thank you. I appreciate you all, and fail forward.
All right, thanks, Jacob.